But from the moment Robbie Fowler stung the keeper's fingertips sufficiently for skipper Jamie Redknapp to equalise, England and particularly the two Liverpool lads were making all the news. It was from Fowler's nifty chip that Redknapp put his side in front with a close-range header. All smiles until the Russian referee took exception to Fowler's protests and some wicked tackling, and to the bewilderment of his teammates and his manager, who will back an FA appeal against the decision. Fowler was red-carded and ended the night in tears. Redknapp did his best to put a smile back on his friend's face by completing his hat-trick. For Keegan, it's played 1-1-1.
Unfortunate the sending off of Robbie Fowler, but Robbie and Jamie Redknapp, how far do you think they are away from full England honours?
Well, they both look excellent players. Robbie Fowler at the moment, everything he touches seems to go in the back of the net. Jamie Redknapp is not even a regular in the Liverpool team at the moment, so I still think they've got a fair way to go. They both have to do it week in, week out in league football.
And Kevin Keegan's input at international level is important, isn't it?
Well, he's a special man. I remember playing with him at England level, and you were always looking at him and his energy and his enthusiasm for football, and it rubbed off on his fellow players then, it rubs off on the players he's in charge of now. He's got a big future.
It certainly has. Let's turn to European club affairs, and Kevin Keegan in charge once again as Newcastle, after that wonderful UEFA Cup performance against Royal Antwerp, look to extend their European progress. Athletic Bilbao are the visitors to St James's Park on Tuesday night, and Eddie Butler has been looking at the kind of challenge they might provide. Without any coaxing, he went to the Basque region in northern Spain.
Children of the Basque Country and the San Mamés Stadium where Basque grown-ups play. The Red and Whites of Athletic Bilbao, UEFA Cup Round 1. Anorthosis Famagusta of Cyprus beaten 3-2 on aggregate, but Bilbao struggling a bit. Meanwhile, Newcastle United... Round 2, Newcastle Bilbao. More of the same?
Well, if you ask me if I think we'll beat Bilbao 10-2 on aggregate, I think the answer's got to be no. But I think Antwerp were a good side. They just were unlucky. We caught them on our day. I mean, we really played well. 2 goals first 8 minutes, and then we went out and played football like you could only dream about.
Kevin Keegan's sweet dreams on Tyneside in the northeast of England. And in the top right-hand corner of Spain, the factories along the Bilbao estuary, shipyards and steelworks stretching from the sea inland for 10 miles, one of the most densely industrialised areas in the world. Newcastle and Bilbao, industry, football, and not far away, San Sebastián, the other Basque club in the Spanish First Division, another link between Kevin Keegan and this corner of Spain. From the age of flares, a partner from the old days.
The Spanish people or the Basque people, they're of the mentality that they like to go into the tie as underdogs. They would be quite happy to go into the 2 matches with everybody saying Newcastle are favourites, you know. They like to, le gusta ser como víctima, as they say here. If they're favourites, and very often they get a little bit uptight about things.
There are other pressures, football history. Only Real Madrid, Barcelona and Bilbao have never been relegated from the Spanish First Division. Bilbao have won the Spanish Cup more often than anyone else. And history in general, the Basque country, Euskadi, a highly sensitive area. No ceasefire here. You have to be born and bred in the Basque country to play for Bilbao. Football reflects the passions that have long gone with living in the Basque heartland or the industrial city.
If you can imagine a Basque national side playing a Spanish national side, a lot would depend on where they played politically, but I mean, they would give the Basques would, you know, if they were in a World Cup qualifying group, then I'd put my money on them getting through. Half of the Spanish national side are Basques.
2 of them from Athletic Bilbao, John Andoni Goicoechea.
for going to chair for Spain.
And teammate Julen Guerrero, capped by Spain at the age of 17, the second youngest ever.
I would say he's probably as important to Athletic Bilbao as Cole would be for Newcastle. You know, he's that good a player. He's 20 years of age now. He represented Spain in the World Cup in the States. He plays just behind the front two. Times he runs into the penalty area very, very well. And he definitely is a key player for them, yeah.
The good news for Newcastle, the key players injured. They'll miss the first leg at St James's Park. No Guerrero, no Goicoechea, and 5 other first-team players missing. Pressure on the manager.
Bueno, nosotros somos un equipo que estamos sufriendo en este momento una serie de vicisitudes, de contrariedades, pero yo creo que siempre jugar una eliminatoria frente a un equipo inglés siempre es un motivo de orgullo, sobre todo porque aquí en Bilbao siempre ha caído muy bien el fútbol inglés, ha sintonizado mucho la gente con ese tipo de fútbol y bueno, hemos tenido en cierto modo la fortuna de que un equipo inglés como el Newcastle pues sea nuestro rival.
So the Basques only too happy to be mixing with the Brits. But all this injury talk, all this respect, no word of warning for Newcastle?
Current league form, you know, isn't always a good guide on a very special European night, and I think that whatever happens in the first leg, then they may just come under the cosh a little bit in the second leg. So I would think that they would need a couple of goals certainly to bring to Bilbao with them for the second leg.
Live coverage of Newcastle versus Athletic Bilbao on Tuesday night in a Sports Night special, plus highlights of the first leg UEFA Cup tie between Aston Villa and Trabzonspor in Turkey. But Newcastle and Athletic Bilbao, how tough for Newcastle, that one?
Well, it's difficult for them because they seem to be having a few players affected by injury, not missing games. They just seem to play in the matches. If they can maintain the rhythm that they have established this season so far, then I would see them getting through comfortably.
Talking of tough matches, on Wednesday night, your old side, Manchester United against Barcelona in the Champions League.
Well, tremendous. Glory days back at Old Trafford. They've been fabulous for 2 years, and I think this will be a hell of a test for them. But again, I just think they've got the determination and the edge to win it.
Okay, and the ultimate outcome of that European Cup may well be affected by AC Milan being docked 2 points in the opposite group yesterday for crowd trouble at an earlier match. Arsenal-Chelsea playing the Cup Winners' Cup on Thursday night. Best wishes go to them. We'll switch finally to the FA Carling Premiership, and Nottingham Forest tried to depose them on Saturday, but Newcastle stay on top of the Premiership despite being held by Blackburn Rovers at St James's Park on Sunday.
Approaching the hour mark, and this splendid setting still to be graced with a goal. Rousseau looking for Wilcox, and Hottiger's in trouble here, and Cernacek has conceded a penalty. Wilcox won the race, and Cernacek, well, at least he'll stay on for the penalty. It's a yellow card for the keeper. Wilcox was just heading away from goal. Shearer scored here against his boyhood favourites last season. No sentiment from Alan Shearer. Blackburn in front through his 8th goal of the season. It's towards Peacock. Hendry got to it. Howie's there, and he scored! Just 2 minutes remaining, and Newcastle have surely saved their unbeaten record. Steve Howie was the last man up. I think there was a deflection though. There's Howie's shot off and off the line and in off the keeper's backside. Sheridan to Bart Williams. Hurst onside. Big chance for David Hurst. Wednesday in front. And that could be just what David Hurst's season needed.
Jones well forward. He's got Fowler in the middle. Maybe he doesn't need him. Still Rob Jones. It's fallen to Robbie Fowler. Oh, wonderful strike by Robbie Fowler.
Moncal, Madison, Letitia! It's his day again. And there's nothing in the world that Everton can do to stop him.
Flynn leading the counter. Julian Darby making a good run beyond him, and Dublin's in the middle here. Dublin! Own goal, I think. John Walk. Wegley versus Johnson. Looking for David Boost. Flynn. That's too close to the keeper, but there's a penalty. Roy Wegley was pushed there. It was the linesman who spotted it. Now, what did he spot? Wegley's the far blue-shirted attacker there, and it's Gavin Johnson who's manhandling him. Flag up straight away. It's the second penalty of Paul Cook's brief Coventry career, and the second success, 2-0.
Another critical day for Everton at the bottom of the Premiership, as today they continue their search for their first win of the season, and Coventry are the opposition at Goodison today. Steve, I know you'll have sympathy for Mike Walker's position there, but that's all part of it though. But as chairman of the League Managers Association, you're working in general to improve the lot of managers, aren't you?
Yeah, we've been working very hard to try and get managers' contracts registered. I'm a great believer in that. The manager is the key employee at any club. I think he's the one person who can turn a club round. So we've been trying to put a manager on parity with players, and the registration of contracts is one way we can do that, so that contracts are honoured by players, by managers and clubs, and also there's no poaching, so it's a lot cleaner all
Similar
around.
to players. I don't suppose you'll ever improve the job security though, will you?
No, certainly not.
Let's take a look at match of the day tonight, because it features two of the big matches in the Premiership today. Blackburn Rovers against Liverpool, certainly. Your old side, Crystal Palace, well, they fancy themselves, I think, today against the leaders, Newcastle.
Well, it's always amazing when you get a game like this where you're not expected to win, that it brings out the best in the players and they get a good result. So it'll be a difficult game for Newcastle.
That plus Blackburn and Liverpool tonight, BBC1 at 10:55. Let's also make the point that it's a big day for third division Northampton today. After 97 years of sharing the county ground with Northamptonshire's cricketers, they're moving on. And they're moving on to their new £5.2 million Sixfields stadium, all-seater. Barnet are the visitors today. 4 wins already this season away from home. Let's hope they don't spoil the party. Well, we've got one match underway already today in the second division. Bristol Rovers and Cardiff City kicked off at midday. Half-time scorers Bristol Rovers 0, Cardiff City 1. Nick Richardson with a goal after 14 minutes. Steve, thanks very much for joining us today. Are you off to enjoy the Wentworth sunshine now?
Well, I hope so. I didn't get much this morning, but it's breaking through now. I'll go much better confident.
Right. Thanks for joining us.